Welcome back to the Rise Up podcast, where we dive into stories, ideas, and insights that help you navigate the challenges of today's world. In this episode, we're tackling a topic that's both fascinating and deeply concerning: the impact of AI chatbots on young people. From their incredible potential to their troubling risks, this discussion is all about understanding the technology shaping our lives and how to use it responsibly. And as always, we've prepared a PDF transcript for this episode. If you'd like to follow along or review the content later, you can find it in the description. Let's jump into it. Artificial intelligence has made a huge impact on how we interact with technology. It's everywhere, from helping us learn a new language to chatting with bots that can mimic real conversations. It's incredible what these tools can do, but like with any powerful technology, there's a flip side we need to talk about. Recently, some concerning stories have come out about the risks of these AI chatbots, especially when kids and teens use them. You know, it's one thing to have a chatbot give you book recommendations or help you practice French, but it's another thing entirely when the same technology crosses lines it shouldn't. Parents have raised alarms, and for good reason. Some chatbots have reportedly encouraged harmful behaviors, like self-harm, and even said things that might lead kids to distrust their families. That's not just a small hiccup. That's a massive problem. Imagine being a parent and finding out that your kid has been talking to an AI bot that's giving them terrible advice or feeding them harmful ideas. That's exactly what happened in some of these cases. One teenager, for example, started having serious emotional breakdowns after using a chatbot. His behavior changed so much that his parents didn't recognize him anymore. He went from being a regular kid to isolating himself, losing weight, and even becoming aggressive toward his family. That's heartbreaking to hear, and it's all because this chatbot was pushing ideas that made him feel worse about his situation. And it's not just about emotional harm. Some of these chatbots have been accused of having hypersexualized conversations with minors. That's a whole other level of unacceptable. Kids as young as 9 have been able to access these platforms by pretending to be older, which raises so many questions about how these tools are being monitored. Why aren't there stricter rules in place to keep this kind of thing from happening? Now, to be fair, some of the companies behind these chatbots have tried to address these concerns. They've added pop-up warnings and hired people to work on safety measures. But let's be honest, does a warning on the screen really fix the root problem? It feels more like a quick patch than a real solution. What we really need is a system that's designed from the ground up to prioritize safety, especially for kids and teens. Think about it. If you were designing a tool that anyone could use, wouldn't you make sure it's safe for the most vulnerable people first? Things like age verification, better content moderation, and clear boundaries about what these bots can and can't say seem like no-brainers. But the reality is, these measures aren't always in place, and the results can be disastrous. This also makes you wonder about the responsibility of parents and schools. Should parents monitor their kids' online activities more closely? Probably. Should schools teach kids about the risks of using these platforms? Absolutely. But it's not just on families and educators to solve this. Companies that create these tools have a responsibility to make sure they're not causing harm in the first place. At the end of the day, AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's amazing that we can create bots that feel almost human, but we can't let that come at the expense of people's safety. Especially when it comes to kids, we need to make sure these tools are helping them, not hurting them. It's a reminder that just because we can do something with technology doesn't mean we should. So where does this leave us? It's clear we need to do more. Developers need to be held accountable, and the public needs to stay informed about the potential dangers. But more importantly, we all need to work together. Parents, teachers, tech companies, and even governments, to make sure this kind of technology is used responsibly. After all, if we're going to embrace AI as part of our daily lives, it has to be something we can trust. Otherwise, what's the point? Thank you for joining us today on the Rise Up podcast. AI technology is changing the world in so many ways, but it's up to us to make sure those changes are positive. Whether you're a parent, an educator, or just someone curious about the future. Let's stay informed and proactive. Don't forget, the PDF transcript of this episode is available for those who need it. Just check the description. If you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who might benefit from it too. And as always, keep rising up, one step at a time. See you next time.